What's up, you guys? Simon here. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and drop some knowledge. This is going to be a Monday motivation video. We're going to talk about the key to success. The three things I think are the keys to success are grit, resilience, and consistency. So we are going to cover all three of those topics in this video. Before I get into this video, I always remind you guys to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's free. It helps the YouTube algorithm and promotes my video. So let's get into this. So I've been through many businesses, many different ventures, had several different business partners. I've kind of done it across the board. If you're interested about what I do, you could check out my What I Do for a Living video. And in that video, I described some of the ventures I've been in the past. Now, there's been other ventures since. I've also got into real estate with several different projects that I got going on today and in the past as well. So kind of well-rounded, still active, etc. So I wanted to talk about some things that keep me going when it looks like there is no end at the end of this tunnel, or you feel like you're stuck in a certain situation that keeps continuing and going. So the first thing we're going to talk about is grit. In order to be successful, you got to have grit. Now, grit is defined as a passion or perseverance for a long-term, meaningful goal to you. It's the ability to persist in something when you face obstacles, something you feel passionate about. So grit is important. It's something that you have to keep going. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, guess what? It is not going to be an easy ride. If it was, everybody would be an entrepreneur making millions buying $20 million homes. If you're going to have a successful relationship, guess what? That's not an easy ride as well. You're going to get obstacles. And there is a reason that divorce rates are over 50%. People are just not persistent in their meaningful goals, or they may not be aligned in their goals. If you're going to do anything, whether it's try to get a black belt in judo or jiu-jitsu or anything of that matter, you'll get injured along the way, but it's how you persist, it's how you continue. So grit is one of those success formulas that you have to be successful, not only in business, but in life. It also applies to family. So if you want to have a great family, you have to have grit to overcome the objectives that your family is going to face, the challenges that it's going to face, etc. So grit is one of those top three on my list to make sure that you keep a close eye on for the success that you see ahead for your meaningful goals. Now let's go into number 2. Resilience. You have to be resilient. So one person told me that, which was the biggest compliment, because I've had compliments before and people say, oh, this is great, that's great, etc. But people don't know what anyone goes through. And having resilience is probably just as important as having grit, but it actually allows you to rebound. So the definition of resilience, or being resilient, is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or challenges that you face. It gives you that ability to spring right back into shape. For example, a professional athlete is resilient. They get injured, they go to rehab, they're back. People that have lost a ton of money in the stock market, in their past business failures, but then they're that cool story of losing everything, sleeping in the car, being homeless, getting back on the train, getting back on their grind, being resilient, and becoming a millionaire, and some of these mega millionaires. John Paul, who created a hair product line and then a tequila company right after, he is someone that I would say is resilient. The guy was homeless, he had failed ventures, and then he created a hair product line called Paul Mitchell, which is a huge business. And from there, he went on and created a tequila line, which also blossomed and boomed, called Patron. And me and Patron had some great nights together. So thank you, John Paul. He is a billionaire. This guy was homeless. He is resilient. He didn't give up. He rebounded quickly. And not only did he rebound, but he learned from his lesson during his hard times to never be in that hard time again, was fighting it. And then he came out on top and did even more. Now, I'm sure the guy has multiple ventures. It's not just Paul Mitchell or Patron, but however, I do recall reading about him and watching a little bit of a documentary of how resilient he was. So for me, resilience, to rebound from one of the worst losses, a hard time, a struggling time, or to keep fighting a situation that you're in and being resilient to get out of it, that's very important. The reason being is all of us, including you and me, have fallen in bad situations or will fall in bad situations in our future endeavors, careers, personal relationships, you name it. And that's going to continue to happen. So if you don't have resilience to fight it off or to keep going and to rebound quickly, you're not going to win. You're not going to be a success. So work on that to make sure that you tell yourself constantly, I can do it. I can get through this. One thing that I loved is I listened or read, actually I should say an audiobook, David Goggins recently, and one term that he has used throughout the book, everything comes to an end. So if you're in a bad situation, you need to know that that situation is going to come to an end. If you are in a bad position, whether it is anything that you don't like, an event, a trip for work, whatever it may be that's holding you down or making you think that, I don't want to do this, you have to tell yourself, well, this is going to come to an end, so I got to knock it out. So that's how you do it, and that's how you pass on with resilience and making sure you understand that that situation is going to come to an end and you're going to be ready to rebound. So if you appreciate the knowledge that I've been dropping so far, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe now to the channel. Give me a like. It's free, and free is good. So let's continue. The third and the most important thing, and I'm sure there are more, and if you feel like there's something else to add on, comment below, I'll reply. But for me, it's consistency. You could do anything once, you could do anything twice, but can you do it consistent on that same level every single time? And consistency to me is extremely important for success because you have to keep going, you have to keep pushing, but not only that, you have to keep pushing at the level that you know is at the top. So consistency, whether you're making YouTube videos, you have to be consistent with putting out so many if that's your main job. Whether you are a manager at work, if you're going to slack off a few of the days, the staff is not going to respect you. You have to be consistent. People need to understand what you expect, what level of performance you bring in every time. If you're competing in jiu-jitsu or if you're competing in any type of martial art, you have to try to be consistent every time, to perform every time. The moment that you slip up, your doubt is in your mind and you feel that you underperformed and you're going to be hard on yourself. As an entrepreneur, to be successful, you have to be consistent with everything that you do. Every little step daily of a 1% improvement amounts to a large improvement at the end of the year. If you're consistently 1% negative every day, not doing as much as you did the day before by a measly 1%, guess what? At the end of the year, you may be down 50%. And that's what I talk about in terms of consistency and making sure that you continue to perform at one of the highest levels that you can. So there you have it, folks. Those are my 3 most important points or keys for success. It is grit, resilience, and consistency. And if you have those 3 and you put your effort into anything that you want to do that you're passionate about, you're going to come out on top. Remember, continue to improve by a measly amount daily. That's going to accumulate to a very big improvement at the end, and you're going to see the results at the end of the tunnel where you feel like you're going to finally achieve the goals that you set out for yourself. Be gritty, be resilient, be consistent, and you're going to win. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me that like. It's free, and subscribe to the channel. It's free as well. And I'll check you here in the next video. Thank you.